go, I'ma get. When I flow, I'm a hit. And I know I'm the kid. I'm a soul, don't forget. I'ma blow up with it. Got my flow so vivid. Here we go, just beginning. Yeah, I throw every inning. Got my flow so legit. All I know is my shit. Here I go, they come with. Post Malone in this bitch. Rockstar making hits. Got guitar in this shit. Leaving scars cause we lit. All these bars that I spit. Yeah. Let's go, let's go. Let's go. If I know what I want, then I know what I get. If I go, they come with, cause they know I get lit. I'm a pro, not a myth, and my flow got some wit. Never.
Silence. The sound of 2020. Filled with such sorrow and loss, but WWE kept our spirits up, putting on shows with zero fans, creating a thunderous experience for us to feel something. This ship symbolizes more than you really know. Crossing one sea to the next, entering a new chapter of humanity, staying afloat, and getting to the next destination. The sad 2020 mission will forever be imprinted on our stories. But it's not the end. Today is the dawn of a new beginning, a new story. The COVID era ends tonight. That ship has sailed. Tonight, we're back. Tonight, we're back in business. Tonight, we're ready and back for WrestleMania. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Angle Podcast, WrestleMania Predictions and Preview Show.
Oh, wrestling fans! Don't you dare be sour! Clap for the Angle Podcast!
It's the Angle Podcast! How exciting!
The Angle Podcast. Son of my God, this is the one.
From the Angle Podcast. Thank you so much.
And feel the power! Wow! Yeah.
There is no better way to kick off this huge show than with a musical performance. So here to perform his new hit track, WrestleMania 37, which is now available on Spotify and Apple Music, and you can also check out the video on YouTube. Here is hip-hop recording artist Ant Won't Stop.
Let's switch it up. Business is picking up. Don't interrupt or you'll get stuck in the dust. Like we discussed, I trust my intuition, but I never trust my competition. Even the slightest recognition can compromise a vision. I keep it moving, not approving of no opportunists. Yes, I'm a fan of the movement, don't act stupid. I don't need no endorsement, that's not important. I'm the head of the table, so you shouldn't be talking. I'm not a teacher, but you feel like my students, because everything I do or say has such a great influence. Legit boss, don't jump to the wrong conclusions. It's amusing that they wanna see me losing, cause I'm the MVP. I know these people envy me, but I've been showing my brutality since I was NXT. Got a couple hits, lot of haters hoping I miss, because I'm working towards my moment of bliss, cause I was chosen to spit. You better quit, I'm controlling the biz, so make it easy on yourself and submit. It's no conspiracy. People be hearing me, fans cheering me, jealous people be fearing me. It's pretty clear to me, I'm in high demand. Here comes the money like I got bands in Switzerland. I drew a picture of the champions I wanna see. Drew on the beat with A&T, these other rappers weak. The crowd's crazy, yeah. WrestleMania. Y'all been gone for a while, I ain't blaming ya. It's been a year, so it's a pleasure reacquainting ya. I wanna welcome everybody to the stadium. The crowd's crazy, yeah. WrestleMania. Y'all been gone for a while, I ain't blaming ya. It's been a year, so it's a pleasure reacquainting ya. I wanna welcome everybody to the stadium. Welcome back. A&T on the track.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Angle Podcast Prediction and Preview Show for WrestleMania Night 2. And I gotta say, before we even start the show, my jaw is a little sore from being on the ground from last night. The entire night one was spectacular, from top to bottom, from the first match to the last match. Everything was exactly what we expected it to be. WrestleMania finally being back in front of a live audience, 25,000 people, 25,000 members of the WWE Universe, all standing on their feet for one great night. And tonight, we're going to do it all over again for night 2 of WrestleMania. I am your host, Joey Karni. Like I said, this is the prediction and preview show for WrestleMania Night 2 from the Angle Podcast. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, comment down below which match you're looking forward to most tonight. There are some matches on this card that I think are going to blow us all out of the water, even after night 1. Matt Riddle said earlier today on the bump that he expects night 2 to be so much better than night 1, despite how great last night was. So many matches to talk about on this card, and I want to begin by talking about a match that started to shape last night, which is the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Natalya and Tamina Snuka earning their shot in a 5-woman tag team turmoil match last night. A lot of fans, like I said on the review show last night, a lot of fans not really having too many positive comments about that match. Really, the tag team division for the women, a lot of people don't have many great things to say. I, however, think that they're doing phenomenal things. They did so well that they got to put on the WrestleMania card twice on both nights, so they obviously have to be doing something correct. I think that having Natalya and Tamina be the team to go against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler was the correct choice. I still think a lot of those teams need to have some work done. Lana and Naomi taking a loss to a team that's never teamed before, like Billie Kay and Carmella, wasn't really sure what that deal was, being that it was very, very short. But ultimately, the moment of that entire match was when Natalya was going to put Liv or Ruby Riott in the sharpshooter to have her own very WrestleMania moment. That's not what happened. She tagged in Tamina, told her to get on the top rope, and let her have her moment. After the match, we saw Tamina really get emotional, have a moment. She's finally having a WrestleMania moment after 10 plus years in WWE. And maybe tonight we'll see Natalya take her moment as hopefully they win the women's tag team titles. So to start off the show, we're talking about the Women's Tag Team Championship match tonight. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defending those titles against Natalya and Tamina. And if you really got anything from what I just said, I am predicting that we're going to have new Women's Tag Team Champions in Tamina Snuka and Natalya. They're just on a warpath, taking out everybody that stands in their way. We saw a few weeks ago on Talking Smack, Paul Heyman said, you want to be on WrestleMania? Take out the competition. Be the only ones left standing, so they have no choice but to put you on WrestleMania. That's exactly what they've done with every team in the division, singles competitors or tag team. They are ready for tonight. I think tonight they're going to take the momentum from last night. They're going to become the new Women's Tag Team Champions. A match that a lot of people are looking forward to, despite who is involved. We have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. These guys have been best friends for over 20 years, have wrestled each other hundreds of times, but it's never been this big. It's never been on this stage, WrestleMania 37. We're finally getting it after many years of getting this match in WWE and NXT. A lot of fans, including myself, wanted this to happen on WrestleMania 37, night number 2. It is finally happening, but there's one piece of information there, one detail that everybody is sort of leaving out, and it's something that a lot of people have an issue with. It's the involvement of YouTube sensation Logan Paul. Logan Paul is known all around the world, not really for the best things. He doesn't really have the greatest reputation. I personally don't think that he should be involved in this match. I think if this is WrestleMania, you're trying to put on classic matches. We had Bad Bunny on last night, who, by the way, did a phenomenal job. A lot of praise. A lot of people were saying he had the match of the night. So kudos to Damian Priest and Miz, and even John Morrison and Damian Priest and Bad Bunny and the Miz and John Morrison. Kudos to all 4 guys being able to play such great faces, such great heels, getting all the jobs done that they needed to do. So I think that would have been perfect to have for the celebrity part of WrestleMania, involving Logan Paul. I mean, because he's one of the biggest stars on YouTube in the world, I get it, but wouldn't have been my call. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn don't need anything. You could put them in a barn and have them fight, and it'll still be the best match that everybody sees that night. So Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, because there is someone at ringside for Sami Zayn, which is Logan Paul. We don't know what his involvement is going to be. If he's going to be in the corner of Sami Zayn, if he's going to turn on Sami and go to the corner of Kevin Owens. Is he going to be the special guest referee, special enforcer, something? We don't know. We don't really know where he's going to play a role in this match. But from what we've seen over the last few months, Kevin Owens has just taken loss after loss after loss, despite being in the main event against Roman Reigns. I think tonight he just has a lot of built-up aggression and anger for those losses. He's going to take it all out on Sami Zayn, but I ultimately think because of what we're seeing recently with Sami Zayn really playing this crazy character, not really in touch with reality, I think he's going to somehow, some way, pull out a huge win, get a WrestleMania moment, despite really not being given one. He did face Daniel Bryan last year at WrestleMania, but like we've all been saying, it wasn't the same to do it in front of nobody. So I think this year, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens getting that huge moment, jumping off the set onto Seth Rollins. So I think this year we're going to see Sami Zayn get a win over Kevin Owens. The big question is where the hell is Kevin Owens going to jump down from? We know that he's been talking about jumping off the ship. We don't know if that's going to play a role in this, if this match is going to turn into a no DQ or whatnot. We have no idea where this match is going to go. So Kevin Owens for Sami Zayn is the match to watch on this card. It's the dark horse of this entire night. I think it's going to be a banger of a match, and I'm predicting Sami Zayn is going to somehow, some way pull out a win. Just going off the records, recently Kevin Owens not really getting any wins, but Sami Zayn just being beat down after beat down after beat down. I think tonight we're going to see Sami Zayn get a win in this match. The United States Championship match, a match that was just made official last week or so. The current champion Riddle doing some phenomenal things. Every match he's been in thus far, whether it's against Mustafa Ali or anyone else on the roster. We've seen him in matches with Sheamus before. This guy can put on fantastic technical matches. He is a former member of the UFC. He has a great background in all martial arts. So I think he's an overall well-rounded superstar in the ring. To go against a brawler like Sheamus, I think is a great fit. They already have, like I said, great chemistry together tonight. It's going to be one of the matches of the night. It's going to be one of the most brutal, if not the most brutal matches of the entire night. Riddle versus Sheamus. Now, although I would love to see Sheamus get a win in this match, just because of the year Sheamus has had. There is nobody who has had such a strong year more than Sheamus. Sheamus came back in 2020. Every match he was been in, you can tell he puts his all into the match. He lays it all out there. Cuts, bruises, and everything in between. Every single match, every match he's been in this last year has been a banger match. He hasn't been given the opportunity yet to really fulfill his destiny of becoming once again the top in WWE. He had his little thing with Drew McIntyre. It wasn't really for the WWE Championship. It wasn't a one-on-one match. A lot of people thought he'd be added to the WWE Championship match this year at WrestleMania. Did not happen. He lost twice, I think more than that, to Drew McIntyre. His last loss coming at Fastlane to Drew McIntyre. And we all saw what happened to Drew McIntyre last night. So maybe Sheamus becomes the next contender for the WWE Championship. We don't know. But I think I would love to see Sheamus hold the United States Championship once again. It would just make everything he's gone through over the last year really come full circle. But I think tonight I'm going to have to predict a Riddle win, just because Sheamus got the win over Riddle originally to be given this opportunity or to earn this opportunity. I think tonight we're going to see him return the favor. Riddle is going to get a win over Sheamus. So far, we've talked about a few matches. If you're just tuning in, I'm your host, Joey Karni. This is the prediction and preview show for WrestleMania 37, night number 2. Last night, number 1, was fantastic. Every match, hands down, was a banger match. It just kept getting better and better and better. Being that it is the first live event in 1 year, 1 month, and now 2 days, they had to do their best work possible, and I think everybody delivered. That weather delay we had earlier on in the night at the beginning of the show really lit a fire under everybody's ass. Everybody's interviews backstage, those candid interviews that weren't planned because of the weather delay, really were the best pieces of content to come out of WWE over the last year or so. So that really just started off everybody in a great, great way. All the energy was high. The positivity was high. I had a few friends and few fellow podcasters who were at the event live last night posting pictures and updates, just like the Balor Club guy, Justin. If you all know Justin, he's been on the show a few times. Posted updates of all different entrances and pictures and whatnot and information. And there was actually some negative information going out today by people who are well known in the wrestling world. I don't want to say all their names, but a lot of people were saying that there was a lot of safety issues last night at WrestleMania. But then there were also people to defend those actions or defend those words. And I honestly don't think that WWE would have done the show even the way they did if there was going to be any issue with safety for COVID. There were 25,000 fans. People were saying there was like near 80,000 or some 85,000 fans in attendance. That is not the case. There was 25,000 live WWE fans. They also had cardboard cutouts of different people. So it looked like the whole arena was filled with people, but they were 6 feet distance apart. People were sitting in different groups. It was all done, with precautionary guidelines, things like that. So for those of you who are wondering, I don't think WWE would have gone through with the show if there were any safety issues, especially related to COVID. So far, we talked about the Women's Tag Team Championship match tonight. We talked about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, the United States Championship with Riddle and Sheamus. And now we're going to talk about the other mid-card title for WWE, and that is the Intercontinental Championship. We're going to see that defended in a Nigerian drum fight, a match that has been decided from Apollo Crews. This new attitude from Apollo Crews is something that the WWE Universe has wanted for years. Apollo Crews coming into NXT, looking like he was going to be one of the fastest rising stars there. Didn't really do much there, honestly. Did not win any titles. Did not really do anything. Put on great matches, but that was just about it. His momentum eventually died off. He was drafted, I believe, to SmackDown and then Raw, and then SmackDown and Raw, SmackDown and Raw. Again, now he's on SmackDown. A new attitude, a new whole accent and everything. He's finally being himself, the Nigerian Nightmare, Apollo Crews. I think tonight is going to be a huge night for these two guys. We know Wale will be performing Big E's entrance theme. By the way, if you didn't know, Wale is the artist who sings Big E's entrance theme. So that's going to be a really cool entrance to watch. I'm sure Apollo Crews will have some sort of cool entrance as well. I think this match is going to be something to really shock the fans because we don't know what a Nigerian drum fight is. I can only assume it's more of a hardcore match or maybe like a no DQ type feel because of what we've seen thus far in this feud, with the stairs being involved and chairs being involved and all the violence that's gone on between the two. I'm sure it'll be something along the lines of a hardcore no DQ match, but we don't know anything about what a Nigerian drum fight is. All we know is that Big E is defending his Intercontinental Championship against this newly motivated, Paul Heyman motivated Apollo Crews. He has been every week almost on Talking Smack, getting some great advice from Paul Heyman, sitting down backstage with Roman Reigns, getting some more great advice. I think tonight we are going to see a new Intercontinental Champion, Big E, having a huge moment in late December of 2020, becoming the new Intercontinental Champion, doing a great job as such, being held up by all the people in the ring, which, by the way, Apollo Crews was a part of, holding Big E up with the confetti. He had a great moment. Although it was in front of fans, it was still a huge moment, probably one of the best moments of the Thunderdome era of WWE. But I think tonight, this match goes into the favor of Apollo Crews because he picked the stipulation. Also, Big E has been injured at the hands of Apollo Crews. So we don't know if Big E will be 100% or not. But I think tonight we're going to see a new Intercontinental Champion. The last time these two went at it, it was at Fastlane last month, and it was a double pin. This is kind of how this story started in the first place. Big E was defending the title against Apollo Crews, a double pin, which ultimately led to a jealous Apollo Crews turning heel. And now we are at WrestleMania, night number 2. This is going to be a big fight feel. Big E versus Apollo Crews. Either way, whoever wins, I'm going to be happy because I think both would be great Intercontinental Champions. We've seen on Monday Night Raw. Apollo Crews is a former United States champion, feuded with the Hurt Business for quite some time, and ultimately lost that title to Bobby Lashley. didn't really get to prove himself properly there, didn't get to really shine the best way possible. I think in this position now as a heel, now as the Nigerian Nightmare, who is formerly known as in the independent scene, I think Apollo Crews can do some great things in this new role. And honestly, if he doesn't win tonight, I could see him going so far as being elevated to the next level, maybe a main eventer on Friday Night SmackDown. That's how much potential big Apollo Crews has, especially going into a huge match at WrestleMania. So I'm predicting here we're going to see a new Intercontinental Champion in Apollo Crews. If you're just tuning in, we have talked about the women's tag team title match, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, the United States Championship, and the Intercontinental Championship. But right now, we're going to take a quick break. It's going to be a short, few-second commercial to announce the next guest on the Angle Podcast, who will be unveiled on Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday, April 13th. You're going to see this guy on the Angle Podcast.
I'm just one man, but I'm the one man band. We're not astray. We're now just where we stand. We'll clean this mess up that you made.
That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. You are not seeing things, and if you are, you're seeing them very clear. Heath Slater will be the next guest on the Angle Podcast this upcoming Tuesday, April 13th. It's a tell-all interview. He talks about his release back in April of 2020 from WWE, how he was offered a contract back, that moment that we all saw him have that great feud on Monday Night Raw with Drew McIntyre. That almost didn't come to be. He gives the whole full story, how Drew McIntyre gave him a call, tried to convince him to come back. I'm not going to tell you the full story. You're going to have to check out this interview on Tuesday, April 13th. In this tell-all interview with Heath Slater, he talks about 3MB. He talks about signing with Impact Wrestling, the injury that he recently sustained in October of 2020, and how it ended up being worse than expected. He's still out with no timetable for a return. There's so much information involved in this interview. We talked about Nexus, the core, the new Nexus, and so much more in this interview. You're going to have to check it out this Tuesday, April 13th, available on all streaming podcast platforms, as well as this exact YouTube channel you're watching right now, The Angle Podcast. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and comment down below what match you're looking forward to for night 2 of WrestleMania. If you're just tuning in, I'm your host, Joey Karni. This is the Angle Podcast prediction and preview show for WrestleMania 37, night number 2, the last night of a 2-night spectacular event. This whole week has been filled with great content across the board. We had the Hall of Fame ceremony for the class of 2020 and 2021. We had NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver night 1 and night 2. Blew everybody out of the water. We said that it could be the best event of the entire week, but really last night, WWE stepped up with night 1 of WrestleMania. I'm sure we will see much more action, much better action tonight for night 2 to close out WrestleMania season and head on to tomorrow, which will be the Monday after WrestleMania, which we all know is the biggest Raw of the entire year. So much to look forward to tonight. We talked about the Women's Tag Team Championship match, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, the United States title match, and the Intercontinental Championship match. Right now, we're going to talk about a match that's been months in the making. This has been going on since September or October of 2020. It is The Fiend with Alexa Bliss taking on Randy Orton. This, by far, is the best work Alexa Bliss has done in her entire WWE career. And she did some phenomenal things before this, being a multi-time Raw and SmackDown and even Women's Tag Team Champion, just doing phenomenal things all across the board. I really feel like she is probably one of the best female wrestlers the WWE has today, just based off what she can do to evolve her character. The Fiend versus Randy Orton. We've seen Randy Orton go into places he's never gone before, really being controlled in this situation by the Fiend, always trying to get the upper hand, getting in an RKO here and there, knows the weakness of the Fiend, burned this man alive, or not even man, he burned the Fiend alive at TLC last year, came back recently. We kind of predicted that he'd come back like this Jason-esque character, all burned up. I'm not sure how you go on from this position. If this feud ends tonight, Does the Fiend just stay looking like that, or does he slowly get back to looking like the original Fiend, healing over time? We don't know. Maybe this feud continues. I'm not sure. Maybe we see the Fiend defeat Randy Orton tonight, and Randy Orton goes away for a few months. We don't know what is going to happen tonight, where this story is going to go. All we know is that we're going to get some sort of gruesome, bloody fight tonight with Randy Orton and the Fiend. Randy Orton has really been the first person to ever go toe-to-toe with the Fiend and kind of have his number, despite taking all these hits from the Fiend. Kind of knows when to strike. Randy Orton, obviously the best person in history to strike anyone. I think tonight we're going to see the Fiend get a win just because he's been playing so many mind games with Randy Orton lately. Really hasn't knocked Randy Orton's confidence at all. But you have to remember Alexa Bliss is involved. And whenever Alexa Bliss is involved, you know it does not go in the favor of Randy Orton. This match tonight is going to be something that we're going to be talking about forever in WrestleMania history. I think we're going to see a great entrance from The Fiend and Alexa Bliss. I hope so. Randy Orton, this is going to be his 17th or whatever number WrestleMania. This is going to be the match that everyone's going to be talking about tonight. We saw these two go at it a few years ago for the WWE Championship when before The Fiend he was Bray Wyatt, and it was a feud that really people expected more from. And we didn't get it, but now we are finally getting it. If you are not familiar with that feud, that's where Randy Orton burned down Sister Abigail's house, and all that Sister Abigail stuff happened a few years back when Randy Orton won the Royal Rumble and Bray Wyatt won the WWE Championship in the Elimination Chamber. I believe that was 2016 or 17, something like that. But that we're just continuing that story with this updated version of Bray Wyatt, The Fiend. I think tonight this is going to be one of the matches we're going to be talking about most. Without a shadow of a doubt, I think we're going to get a Fiend win. There's no possible way Randy Orton can get a win in this situation unless he strikes an RKO and a punt. And I mean, this guy, this Fiend, has taken 127 million curb stomps. He's taken toolboxes to the head, buried and stuff, burned alive. I mean, this guy cannot be kept down. And I keep calling him Guy. He is a Fiend. He is the Fiend, and he has yet to be held down. So I think tonight Randy Orton is the best person to do so. He's the most volatile and sadistic person in the history of WWE. And if he can't get the job done tonight, well, then all hell is going to break loose because no one in WWE can hold down the Fiend. That's why, like I said, I'm predicting a Fiend win tonight over Randy Orton. This match, like I said, we're going to be talking about for years in WrestleManias to come. The Raw Women's Championship match, Asuka versus Rhea Ripley. I honestly thought Charlotte Flair would be involved in this match. A lot of other people thought she would be involved in this match. This is the first WrestleMania in a while that we have no Charlotte Flair. We have no Bayley. I'm not sure what's going on with those two. We don't know if there's a story going to start for each of those ladies after WrestleMania. We know the first week after WrestleMania is kind of the revamp of things. I reported earlier today that there was a report that we're going to be getting new announced teams for Raw and SmackDown going forward post WrestleMania. Tom Phillips is being removed he's being removed from the Raw announced team, and so is Samoa Joe. We're going to be getting Corey Graves, Byron Saxton, and I think someone from ESPN. I'm not sure his name, Abraham or something like that, from ESPN. And on SmackDown, we're keeping Michael Cole, but we don't know who is going to be taking the place of Corey Graves and Byron Saxton. Now, where this leads me to think...
Just beginning, yeah, I throw every inning. Got my flow so legit. All I know is my shit. Here I go, they come with Post Malone in this bitch. Rockstar making hits. Got guitar in this shit. Leaving scars cause we lit. All these bars that I spit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's go, let's go. Let's go. If I know what I want, then I know what I get. If I go, they come with, cause they know I get lit. I'm a pro, not a myth. And my flow got some wit, never slow.
Ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that. My power went out once again. I was having issues earlier today. The weather the weather from WrestleMania really coming all the way across to New York, destroying the power here too. Horrible weather outside, so I apologize for that. Hopefully, you're back in and we are up and running. I was talking about the Raw Women's Championship match before we got kind of cut off. If you're just tuning in, I'm your host, Joey Karni. This is the Angle Podcast prediction and preview show for WrestleMania 37, night number 2. So damn big, so damn great. They had to go for 2 nights, not just one. So far, we have talked about the Women's Tag Team Championship match, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, the United States title, the Intercontinental Championship match, and the Fiend versus Randy Orton. Right now, we're going to talk about the Raw Women's Championship match. That is Asuka versus Rhea Ripley. I said before, I got rudely cut off by this horrible weather and his internet connection, that we thought Charlotte Flair would be involved in this match. And honestly, I wouldn't be mad with Charlotte Flair being added in this match. I think a lot of people take her for granted. She's one of, if not the best women's wrestler we have in WWE today. She'd bring some great momentum to this match and star power and just do some phenomenal things in this match. But really, all I can say about this match is I think Rhea Ripley is going to become the new Raw Women's Champion. On Monday Night Raw this week, we saw her turn on Asuka, who she was teaming with, against the Women's Tag Team Champions. I think from going forward, Rhea Ripley will now be a heel on Monday Night Raw. I think this is best fit for her, just because just her aesthetic and everything and her vibe and energy is all heel persona. So I think it's going to be the best thing possible for her. I think tonight is going to be a phenomenal night. Rhea Ripley hopefully becoming the new Raw Women's Champion. I just want to see if all the connections are correct here. Let's see. I want to see. Yeah, I am back. Okay, perfect. We are back. And we just finished talking about the Raw Women's Championship match. Really thrown together last minute. Honestly, Rhea Ripley making her debut on Monday Night Raw and going after the Raw Women's Championship. Right now, I think that Asuka has been doing nothing as the Raw Women's Champion, which is a shame because she's one of the greatest women's champion of all time. She's one of the best female superstars in the world, and she's just not being booked properly. But hopefully tonight we see a new champion. Flair come back, we get a Rhea Ripley Charlotte Flair feud for that title, and that will elevate. I see two-way path working good here on our end. Perfect. I'm glad. I hope you can hear me well. I turned up the mic from the issues I had yesterday, so hopefully everything is going properly. Everything is working properly on my end, so we can get this show down, packed, and ready for WrestleMania. The main event of night 2 tonight, the Universal Championship match between Roman Reigns, Edge, and Daniel Bryan. I could sit here and talk for 2 hours or more about this match. Each individual having a great story to tell here tonight at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns being taken out by leukemia a few years back, or actually last year, a few years ago, having to stay out most of 2020 due to COVID and trying to stay safe during the pandemic. Edge, 10 plus years ago, having his neck destroyed, having neck surgery and being told he has to retire, never to wrestle again. Daniel Bryan having too many concussions, never to be clear again. All 3 having retirement. In Roman Reigns' case, not necessarily in retirement, but all 3 had to be taken away from the ring. They had to step away from the ring for a period of time, not knowing if they'd ever be able to get back. Scary situations, and all being taken to the top of their game, all being champions in WWE. Daniel Bryan had to retire being the Intercontinental Champion, I think it was. Edge had to retire as the World Heavyweight Champion, and Roman Reigns had to step away, I believe, if he was the Universal Champion at the time. But either way, all 3 having great comeback, scary stories, and tonight they all, come together in this triple threat main event of night 2 of WrestleMania. I think is a beautiful, beautiful story. I think that a lot of people having issues with Daniel Bryan in this match. I think you should just zip it and throw that damn key away, because Daniel Bryan deserves to be in this match. He always adds great he always adds a great just a different, I can't even come up with a word for it. He just adds something different. I'm seeing here slight lag on frames pictures now, but here you perfect. Okay, perfect. I appreciate you giving me some feedback there. Let me know what's going on. This match is going to be one of the best matches of the entire year, I think. It's very hard to tell. Roman Reigns is doing the best work he's ever done in a WWE ring. He is the Universal Champion, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he retains his title tonight. Edge coming back, winning the Royal Rumble the same day he won 11 years ago, the same 2010 Royal Rumble. I mean, winning a Royal Rumble 10 or 11 years to the day. You can't make that stuff up. Like, it's just not, it's crazy. Tonight will be, today is April 11th, which is actually 10 or 11 years to the day, April 11th, 2011, he had to retire and relinquish the World Heavyweight Championship. So if he wins tonight, I mean, this is a full circle story, and you cannot write it. This is just crazy how this would play out. And you have Daniel Bryan, who has, fought back from so many things in his career, now being added to this main event, really not getting a fair shot against Roman, I think was an excellent choice. I think all three deserve to be the Universal Champion. I think all three have the potential to become the Universal Champion tonight. But honestly, I'm going to have to go with a new world. I keep saying World Heavyweight Champion because I always think of that World Heavyweight title belt that Edge had. I think tonight we're going to see a new Universal Champion in the Rated R Superstar Edge. I think it's Edge's time. I think WrestleMania is about creating moments and telling beautiful stories and creating these things that last a lifetime, then, now, forever, WWE's slogan. Edge winning the Royal Rumble January 31st or whatever it was, and then winning it again 10, 11 years later on the same day. Having to retire April 11th, 2011, coming back, doing all this great stuff to win the Universal Championship back, a title technically he never lost, on the same day he retired 10, 11 years ago. It's exactly what you would need to close out a WrestleMania. And if this is his last WrestleMania, which he's kind of been talking about, he doesn't know how many of these he's going to have left, this would be the way to end his career, and just tell one of the most beautiful, best stories in the history of WWE. Now, if you're just tuning in, this is the Angle Podcast prediction and preview show for WrestleMania 37 night number 2. I'm your host, Joey Karni. If you haven't already, like this video, comment which match you're ready to see tonight for WrestleMania, and please subscribe. We're at 60 subscribers, on the road to 400, and then back on the road to 1,000, so we can get that subscriber count up. Please, if you're watching this, it just takes a few seconds. You don't have to watch any of my videos ever again if you don't want to. Just please hit that subscribe button. And I would suggest watching them because the videos are quite great. Not just saying it because I create them, but I'm saying because I put so much effort into these videos, and it's also something that I would want to watch. So if I want to watch it, I know a lot of other fans would want to watch it. Check it out, the Angle Podcast, right here on YouTube. Now I'm going to go over quickly one more time the matches for tonight from the top to the bottom with my predictions. We have the Women's Tag Team Championship match, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defending those titles against Natalya and Tamina, who won that opportunity last night at night 1, going through 4 other women's tag teams. I think tonight we're going to get new women's tag team champions in Natalya and Tamina Snuka. Tamina getting the win last night, having her WrestleMania moment. Tonight, I think Natalya is going to get the win, getting herself a WrestleMania moment. New women's tag team champions. Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. This match is going to be the dark horse, like I said, because we don't know what to expect. These guys have done so many great things already against each other and individually. Kevin Owens said plenty of times he wants to jump off the ship. Maybe that happens tonight. I don't know. That stage looks pretty damn big, as you can see behind me over here, the stage of what WrestleMania looks like. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I do know I am predicting a Sami Zayn win over Kevin Owens. The United States Championship match, Riddle will be defending against Sheamus. These two have such great chemistry together. They've been in plenty of matches before, but this time it's for the United States Championship. I'm predicting because Sheamus beat Riddle to earn this opportunity, he's going to return the favor tonight, get some revenge. Riddle will be retaining his United States Championship against Sheamus. The match we don't know anything about. All we know is that what's on the line and who's involved. It's the Intercontinental Championship match. The Nigerian drum fight, Big E defending against Apollo Crews. Again, we don't know what a Nigerian drum fight is. I'm assuming it's like a hardcore, maybe no DQ match, because both guys have been brutal, violent, using stairs and chairs and whatnot to go at each other, injuring each other, whatever. I think tonight we see a new Intercontinental Champion in Apollo Crews, just because he has the momentum going into this match, because he picked the stipulation. So I predict Apollo Crews becoming your new Intercontinental Champion over Big E. The Fiend with Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton. This is going to be one of the matches we're going to be talking about for years to come when it comes to WrestleMania, and also in the history of both Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. I'm predicting a Fiend win. I think that's a no-brainer. I'd be shocked if Randy Orton got a win. But from what we've seen thus far, Alexa Bliss playing a really huge factor in this feud. It's going to help the Fiend get the upper hand, which is why I'm predicting a Fiend win over Randy Orton. The Raw Women's Championship match, a match that actually can be a fantastic match because we know what both females can do. Asuka defending against Rhea Ripley, making her I can't even say that. She wrestled on Raw last week, but this will be her second WrestleMania, second in a women's title match. She defended the NXT Championship last year against Charlotte Flair unsuccessfully. This year, I think she's going to have different luck. I think tonight we see a new Raw Women's Champion in Rhea Ripley, and brutality will be bestowed upon all of the Raw women's roster. The main event of WrestleMania 37 night number 2, the Universal Championship match, Roman Reigns defending against Edge and Daniel Bryan. Each individually have a beautiful story, a crazy story of how they got to this exact moment, all being forced into retirement, all making their way back after crazy, crazy circumstances. Tonight, I think we're going to see a great moment between the three. Whoever wins deserve to be in this match in the main event of WrestleMania. Roman Reigns, Edge, and Daniel Bryan. Like I said before, Edge winning the Royal Rumble in 2010. Coming back after all these injuries, or after his injury 10 plus years later, winning the 2021 Royal Rumble on the same day he won the 2010 Royal Rumble. Tonight is his main event WrestleMania match on April 11, 2021, the same day he retired from WWE, which was April 11th, 2011. I think this story is the big picture here. It comes full circle tonight. We see a new Universal Champion in the Rated R Superstar Edge. Those are all the matches that are happening tonight for WrestleMania 37 night number 2. Night number 1 last night was fantastic, and I think the momentum is a lot of great matches like I just discussed happening tonight. I think a lot of great stuff are going to happen, and all we can do is wait. We got a few hours left. Wait, get a cold beverage, get your popcorn ready, because tonight I think the WWE stars, they're going to deliver something spectacular to close out WrestleMania season. First time in over a year. It's 1 year, 1 month, and now 2 days. That was the last live event for WWE. 25,000 members of the WWE Universe all around with cardboard cutouts, whatnot, making this arena look fantastic. As you can see behind me, the full WrestleMania stage there and there, a huge pirate ship with cannons firing and all this great stuff. I think tonight WrestleMania is going to go down. This WrestleMania is going to go down as one of the best ever in the history of WrestleMania. Now, after the pay-per-view concludes tonight, not sure what time that will be, probably around between 11 to 12 o'clock time, I'll be back here live again, doing a full review and results show, going over all the things that happened, getting a full review of the show, talking about who won, who didn't win, and all the surprises in between. You can check that out here on the Angle Podcast YouTube channel. Like and subscribe now. Get ready for that. Hit a reminder because I'm going to be going live a lot more. Like I said, after the pay-per-view tonight concludes, we'll be doing a full review and results show. I want to thank you for tuning into this show. Like I said, huge things coming from the Angle Podcast this week. This is the 8th or 7th stream I've done this week. Tonight will be the 9th or 10th. I'm not really sure. A lot of content this week. It's the biggest week in wrestling. It's WrestleMania week. Had to do it big. Going to next week, like I said, Heath Slater interview available on Tuesday, a tell-all interview with information you really want to know, juicy details as to why he didn't re-sign with WWE after being offered a contract. Great stuff coming. I will see you. Actually, no, before I get to that part, I'll be live tweeting again all night tonight, WrestleMania 37 night number 2. You can tweet along with me at The Angle Radio. I'm very, very active there. People love the feed. You get to see a lot more of that tonight. Stay up to date with me there, like I said, at The Angle Radio. And I will see you after WrestleMania concludes tonight. Same place, different time. Full review and results show after WrestleMania. So until then, sit back, get ready, because we have one more night of WrestleMania. And by God, what a time to be a pro wrestling fan. I will see you after WrestleMania.
I stay loose, I stay hype, I stay loose, I stay hype, I stay loose, I stay hype. I could do this all night, cause I do what I like. Yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, sip is right, and I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow. Cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. Yeah, they know